Every summer when I was a kid, my mom would drive me out to rural Kansas to visit family. My cousin Tyler and I were only a year apart, and whenever we got together, trouble usually followed. We spent our days wandering through cornfields, climbing trees, building makeshift bows and arrows, and exploring places we probably shouldn't have been exploring. One afternoon, when we were both 13, we decided to see how far we could walk without using any roads. It became a game for us. We'd purposely get lost and then try to find our way back before dark. For hours, we crossed open fields and dirt paths. The sun was beginning to sink toward the horizon when we spotted an old farmhouse sitting alone in the middle of nowhere. The place looked abandoned. The paint had peeled away years ago. Most of the windows were cracked or boarded up. Tall weeds surrounded the property, and an old rusted windmill creaked loudly in the evening breeze. The whole farm felt forgotten, as if nobody had stepped foot there in decades. Near the house stood a small storage shed. Curious, we climbed over the fence and headed toward it. The shed was locked tight. Tyler tried looking through the keyhole, but it was clogged with dirt and thick spider webs. "Nobody's been here in years," he said. At least, that's what we thought. We turned our attention to the farmhouse. The front door stood slightly open. That should have been our warning. "Hello?" I shouted from the porch. No answer. Only the sound of the windmill turning slowly behind us. The moment I stepped inside, a horrible smell hit me. It was the odor of mold, damp wood, and something much worse. The living room was a disaster. Papers were scattered across the floor. Cardboard boxes were stacked against the walls. Old clothes hung from broken racks. A torn leather recliner sat in the corner beneath layers of dust. Every instinct told me to leave, but curiosity pushed me farther inside. Then I saw it. At first, I thought it was a mannequin. Near an old bed, partially hidden between several boxes, was the head of an elderly man. Gray hair. Pale skin. Eyes wide open. Staring at the ceiling. He wasn't moving. He was dead. A scream escaped my throat before I even realized it. Tyler looked past me and saw the body. We turned and bolted. Neither of us stopped running until we burst out of the house. We were halfway across the yard when a loud crash exploded behind us. The shed door. It had flown open. Standing in the doorway was an old woman. Her hair was wild and tangled. Her face looked dirty and weathered. In her hand was a large kitchen knife stained dark red. For a split second, she smiled. The sight of her rotten teeth is something I'll never forget. Then she started toward us. I ran. I ran harder than I ever had in my life. My feet pounded across the dry ground while panic surged through my body. I didn't dare look back. I just kept running. A few minutes later, I finally stopped to catch my breath. The fields around me were empty. Too empty. Tyler wasn't there. I spun around. Tyler. Nothing. I called his name again. No answer. My stomach dropped. I searched for him for several minutes, but there was no sign of him anywhere. Terrified, I ran all the way back to my aunt and uncle's house. When I burst through the front door, everyone knew something was wrong. I could barely get the words out. I told them about the farmhouse, the dead man, the woman with the knife, and Tyler disappearing. Within minutes, my uncle grabbed his truck keys. We drove back immediately. But when we arrived, the farmhouse looked different. almost peaceful. There was no old woman. No dead man. No sign of Tyler. We searched every room. Nothing. My uncle called the sheriff's department. Deputies arrived and searched the property until after midnight. They found no body. No blood. No evidence that anyone had been living there. Most importantly, they found no trace of Tyler. Search teams combed the surrounding fields for days. Tracking dogs were brought in. Volunteers searched nearby woods, creeks, and abandoned buildings. Nothing. Tyler had simply vanished. Years have passed since that day. The farmhouse was eventually demolished, but the mystery remains. No one ever discovered who the old woman was. No one ever found the dead man I saw inside the house. And no one ever found my cousin. Sometimes I still think about that evening. About the smile on the old woman's face. About the knife in her hand. About what might have happened if I had been just a little slower. Because if I had, maybe I would have disappeared too.